Hey YouTubes, it's Craig here. This is my 4runner and today I'm giving a tour of my digital Nomad setup. So to start with, I'm just going to get my mouse out of the console, then open the moonroof to get the keyboard where it's hiding there, then flip down this visor to get to our hidden screen. And that's all there is to it. So now let's address the ergonomics of this setup. This is a convenient screen, but it's a bit small and it has an upward viewing angle which strains the neck here. What you want is a level or a slightly downward viewing angle. For that I actually have a second larger display hidden in the moonroof. And it just so happens that when I place this on the steering wheel, that gives pretty much the ideal viewing angle. So what I'm going to do is put the small one away. I'm going to unplug the small one and then plug in the larger one. And this is all set now. I'll do this anytime I'm going to be working on the computer for more than an hour, or if I know I won't be moving the car. Okay, so seat adjustments are also very important. You need to move back to get the right viewing distance to your screen. Don't forget also you can adjust the seat height and lumbar support as well to optimize for comfort. The keyboard is actually good down here. It forms a 90-degree bend with your elbow, and that's actually ideal. And you should be able to achieve that as long as you have enough leg room in your setup. Okay, so lastly we have the mouse. Unfortunately, the console doesn't come forward enough. The mouse really needs to be here next to the keyboard to be comfortable to use. So what I've done, I built this thing that actually fits over the shifter knob like this. Then I can just put the mouse here, and at this point, it's as seamless to use as a normal desktop for me. Overall, I love this setup. I think it's great. I can go all day on it without getting fatigued. It feels as comfortable as a home office setup. Overall, I couldn't be more pleased with the results.
So this is a shot from putting everything together. You can see here I built the PC into the car itself, which I like because it's a little bit stealthy that way. This is the cut I made in the bottom of the console to fit the PC. This is where I replaced the factory USB charging port with a connection to the computer.
All right, so up here on the roof, let's talk connectivity. I run a hotspot on my cell phone. The PC in the car connects to that hotspot. That in turn connects to the cell booster, the antenna, which you can see sticking out of the top of the car here. And when I'm not using this, when I want to go mobile, for example, or I just want to be more stealthy, I can just slip this down and it's very convenient. So I also have two cell plans that I run on my phone, and I can just switch between them depending on which one has service. You know, combined monthly cost for that is still half of what Starlink is, and it's a lot less power draw on the system. So in my book, that's a win. This here is a Wi-Fi antenna I can use to connect any open networks. This small white guy is actually a GPS antenna I put there to implement my own version of LoJack, because why not? This big guy here is a 405 watt solar panel, provides most of my power. Actually, it's overkill, but it does mean, you know, I don't have to worry about bad weather or clouds or anything like that. I can just kind of operate as usual.
This is another angle. You can see the electrical junction box I used to route the wiring through the roof. I removed the stock 4runner antenna, which worked great because that way I didn't have to cut new holes in the roof. Back down here behind the driver's seat, we can see the 3 kilowatt hour battery, which the solar panel charges. It'll power the computer for about a week without any recharge, so that's great. The car alternator can also charge the battery when driving, and I can also run it in reverse in case I need to charge the car battery as well. I also wired up an offshore power connection at the rear of the vehicle. Although I rarely need to use it, it's a nice backup option to have. And lastly, I'll mention I took a chance on the solar generator, and it could not have been more ill-suited for the job. I'll make a separate video all about that, but for now, just know to stay far away from it. And on the opposite side of the car, actually, let's just show you, we have a 20-liter Jerrycan here to balance out the battery weight. This one actually has a built-in filter inside, which is great because you find a lot of questionable water sources on the road, and it's nice to have the peace of mind of having something that's not going to kill you, so I recommend it. Also, even if you don't have a water filter, you can at least use a cheap water quality meter like this one to tell you how clean it is.
Okay, so here at the back of the vehicle we have our sleep setup. We've got a bed platform on top of which we have this nice memory foam mattress, very comfy. Below that is our goose gear setup, which has a lot of nice storage. It's also very robust and reliable, so I like it a lot. There's a gray material you might be able to see lining the inside of the car here. That's some Noeco insulation. I installed that. It helps a lot with the temperature regulation, actually. So I decided to keep it, even though it prevented me from putting on all of the car paneling on the inside back, but it's worth it. Now beneath that there's a layer of Noeco sound deadener, and that has been an absolute game changer. It's allowed me to sleep in all kinds of noisy places, rest stops and gas stations and the like, so I couldn't recommend that highly enough. Lastly, we have the straw foot covers for all of our windows. They provide some insulation, they provide privacy, and they actually also prevent condensation forming on the windows, so I'd recommend those as well.
Also, don't forget some leveling blocks so you don't fall out of bed at night. They're cheap and stack easily. And I also have a level indicator in the front, which allows me to park most of the time without even needing to use the blocks. So here under the hood I put some more sound deadener for good measure. I also put a LED string around the perimeter so it's easy to see inside. I also have these two ultrasonic rodent repellers in my engine bay. You don't want them chewing on your wires, so make sure you include them in your build. So I also have a light bar on top. If I had to do it again, I would wire it up to one of my Z-Wave relays. Z-Wave is a wireless protocol, which means you don't need to run wires through your firewall. I'm actually surprised I don't see this in more builds, because this is exactly what you need to do when you forget to run a control wire in your finished van build. Relay boxes are only $35. You can control them with a smartphone app, with voice commands, or with a Z-Wave switch panel like you have in the driver's seat. Lastly, just a few quality of life things. I didn't want to have to run the inverter to charge the electric toothbrush, so instead I bought an aftermarket charger that plugs into a USB port. I also installed the keypad to get inside when I get locked out or lose my keys. And of course, the most important thing, we're using an extra magnetic phone mount to store my spoon.
Well, that's a wrap on my digital Nomad setup. If you want to know what I used in my build, check out the links in the description. I've never actually worked on cars before, so I hope this is encouraging to some of you out there. If you've got any questions, stick them in the comments below, and I'd be happy to answer.